Mr Speaker, there is no doubt that the Parliament wishes to pass this bill as soon as possible, but that doesn't mean that there are not issues that we ought to raise, and I do agree with those that have spoken that there is no good going around beating ourselves up on who did what and when. We need to correct the original bill. I think it was a genuine attempt to do something about the issue. We didn't get it right, and now we are attempting to address it. But there are a couple of issues that I want to raise, and hopefully when the Minister's in the chair he'll be able to help with some of the answers. But I note that, and I've read the regulatory impact statement from the Ministry of Health carefully, it is dated the 2nd of May, and in it, it does talk about animal testing. And it says that the government agreed in November, the Cabinet agreed in November to test on animals. That was a decision that was made 4 months after the bill passed. It says in November the Cabinet agreed that animal testing on psychoactive substances should be limited to rodents. Unfortunately, they were given poor advice at the time, and that they were told that rabbits were rodents as well. And in fact, rabbits are not rodents. What's interesting, though, when you go on to read this part of the regulatory impact statement, it says this: the Psychoactive Substances Expert Advisory Committee has considered the issue and advises that animal testing using rodents and lagomorphs, which are rabbits, would allow the Act to function largely as intended. While it would mean some products could not be assessed due to the application using data from non-permitted animal species potentially ruling out some low-risk products, it would allow robust assessment of the risk of some of these products. The word in here says advises. Now, it was advising the Cabinet as recently as the 2nd of May to continue to test on animals, including rabbits. The Prime Minister announces on the 5th of May that the government no longer will test on any animal. Now, I would like to know what changed the government's mind between the 2nd of May and the 5th of May. Why was it going to happen? Why was it agreed by Cabinet? And what made them change their mind? I mean, we can guess. And I guess that there is a number of reasons, including the work of Mojo Mather, the work of Trevor Mallard, the 43,000 signatures that have appeared very quickly on a petition. I do not believe that this was a principled decision made by the government. It was a decision made out of the thought that they would lose votes to animal lovers, or from animal lovers. And so I'm glad that they've made the decision, but I have to say there is no evidence that this was a principled decision. The second issue also comes out of the regulatory impact statement, and nothing has really been made of this at present, but it very much is in the Minister of Health's area. And the regulatory impact statement does tell us that they do not have good data on the number of people who use psychoactive products with interim approval. They've gone on to do an assessment of what services would be needed for people who could be addicted. And they've done it by extrapolating from an area that's called the largest provider of services for alcohol and drug service provider, and that is Waitemata District Health Board. It seems to me that that is a pretty rough way of guessing, because they might be the largest provider, and some of that could come from very good work by the District Health Board, but does it mean they have the most addicted people? My concern is it's been an estimated between 150 and 200 people might be sufficiently dependent on these products to require a degree of professional withdrawal management, and that comes straight out of the regulatory impact statement. So my concern is what services will be put in place, because there is no doubt there is going to be the need for services come Thursday when they are removed and people do not have access to them. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying you have to look at the consequences and the ongoing consequences and what is in place to ensure that we give the best possible to people who are addicted. Now, there was a very good email sent to the Honourable Mary Ann Street from one of her constituents raising this issue, a client of Pascoe Street AOD clinic, saying there is going to be a significant increase in clients presenting with withdrawal issues. There will be. And related difficulties, and asks the question, what provision does the government intend to make in order to address the likely increase in demand of addiction services while maintaining, and here is an important point, while maintaining the present level of services to existing clients? Because while there will be a need for these people to have services once we withdraw these illegal highs from the market, you cannot do it at the expense of existing clients. They need to have their ongoing support. There have been many reports, including out of Auckland, the Auckland City Mission, that they are saying, and I'm sure Mr Sabin would be interested in this, where they're saying this could be a bigger problem than methamphetamine. And the big worry is that they're saying at this point, and this was late in April, that at least 90% of clients coming through detox have used synthetic cannabis. So even then, those that were wanting and needing detox had been those using synthetic cannabis. And she is saying, the person who was quoted in the story, they're telling me it's the hardest thing they've ever come off. So I do think it would be useful for the House if the Minister was able to tell us what services will be available for these people come Thursday. Will we have enough staff? Do we need additional resources? Will additional resources be made available to assist people coming off these highly addictive, soon-to-be illegal highs? Now, I would feel some comfort if they were able to be answered, because there is no doubt that members of the House will soon, it'll turn from us banning them, it'll turn to what services are available and the stories of people not getting the services they need in different parts of New Zealand. So it's going to need to be very carefully managed. We're going to need, I think the Minister ought to ask every DHB to provide as soon as possible what capacity and facilities they will have to be able to provide services to those who are highly addicted and are going to need to be detoxed off these legal highs. So, Minister, hopefully you're able to answer those in the committee stages.
Kevin Haig.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.